So a review of domain and range. The domain of a function is all the possible input values. We refer to those as the x values, or if we're looking graphically, the values as we travel from left to right. However, there are two issues that arise when finding domain. Denominators of a fraction may not equal 0, and values under a square root or any even root may not be negative. The range of a function is all the possible output values, or y values, or if you're looking at it graphically, the up and down direction that the graph goes. All right, so we're going to try a couple of examples and try to talk about the domain and the range of each of these examples. So here's our first example. Look at the function y equals x. Now most of us know that if we're looking at a graph of this equation, the graph would look like this, where every x value and y value are equal, and we can tell from the appearance that the graph has all real numbers for both its domain and range. And in fact, there are no issues with this. It does not have a fraction or a radical to worry about, so it is all real numbers, which would mean we're going negative to positive infinity. Always start with the lowest value, end with the highest value, and in this case we're not including the ends, so we have parentheses on the ends rather than brackets. Let's take a look at a second example. Y equals 5 over the quantity square root of x minus 4. This one has a couple issues going on. First of all, it's a fraction. That means the denominator may not equal 0. And then there's a square root, which means the value under the square root, the expression x minus 4, cannot come out to a negative number. That means my only options for that denominator are what values will make the denominator, x minus 4, not 0, not less than 0, but more than 0. So in order for that denominator to be more than 0, x has to be greater than 4. So that means that our domain is not counting 4, but everything from 4 up. So we have a parentheses at the 4 and going to positive infinity. Our range is a little bit different. The fraction has a constant in its numerator, so we know that that fraction will never equal 0, because the only way a fraction equals 0 is if the numerator equals 0. And we also know that that square root is going to be a positive value. So that means that our y values are going to start at 0 and go on to only positive infinity. And if we had a sketch of what this looks like in your calculator, the sketch would look something like this. There would be a vertical asymptote at x equals 4, and a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0.